Hello and good morning, everybody. My name is Trenton Ty. Welcome to Purgatory Ironworks and welcome back to our Patreon appreciation canteen video, where today we're actually going to be sealing up the inside of our canteen using rosin and beeswax. But before we get into that, I've got to tell you that these videos are brought to you exclusively by our Patreons. If it were not for our Patreon support, these videos could not be done. So if you enjoy this content, please consider swiping over to patreon.com Purgatory Ironworks and supporting the channel. It matters. And at this point, as we get started again for filming, those couple of dollars really add up. It is super important to the future of the channel. So please consider becoming a Patreon subscriber. And with all that, we're going to get into our video. All right, guys, so today the word of the day is pine rosin. Super cool stuff. Pine rosin is what is left over once you've taken the turpentine out, and we have mixed that with a little bit of beeswax to make what we call brewer's pitch. And this is going to be what we use to actually seal the inside of our canteen. Now, in the other video, you saw us mixing it up and cooking it down into a double boiler. And today, though, what I have here is just a hot plate. And the fact of the matter is, whenever you're dealing with things that are flammable, like rosin, even wax to a lesser degree, you need to take precautions on that end. And the double boiler is the absolute safest way to do that. It takes a lot longer than direct heat, but you don't run into a lot of the problems that you would have with like flammability, anything like that. So, but today we're out here and I have this hot plate and we can't really film there in the kitchen. So we're going to press our luck a little bit and we're going to use direct heat on this. And we should be okay. I mean, use your head, use some precautions, and yeah, I mean, we should be able to get away with it. And so she's good and warm there, and let's see, I think everything's pretty good there. Maybe it's smoking a little bit, but it should be okay. All kidding aside, folks, again, you can do this with direct heat. Just be very mindful of it. Use your safety precautions. This is hot liquid. And it's sticky liquid on that end of it. You've ever heard the term tarred and feathered, where hot rosin's where it comes from. So be mindful, be careful, use some common sense and some common precautions, wear your PPE. But to get into this, now, two very important things. One, we have our pitch, our brewer's pitch that's warm and it's good and liquid. The second thing that you need to be concerned about is going to be smoking like, actually that's wax from, we actually use this same hot plate to do a lot of our wax pours when we're working with our lost wax casting. So that's what you're seeing there. We turned it on here. So don't worry about that. We'll be fine. We'll be good. We're good. Actually smoking a lot. Anyway, two important things. You want your pitch to be good and warm. And then the other thing is, and this is critical, you want your canteen or the piece of leather that you're working on to be warm as well. So right now inside the house, I've actually got our canteen in the oven at about 175 degrees. It's been cooking for quite some time. Two things, this is going to drive all the moisture out of it, and it is very important that that leather is warm when you pour the pitch, because if you don't, what will happen is that as soon as the pitch contacts the cold leather, it will freeze up, and a lot of times it won't penetrate, it won't get down into the seams to make that good watertight seal. So two things need to be hot: the pitch and the canteen itself. So what I'll do is I'm gonna run into the house with my little bitch mittens here, and we'll grab the canteen and we'll dump the sand out and we'll get ready to go ahead and pour and seal this bad boy up. So let me go do some kitchen work. Okay, all right guys, I've got some heavy duty nitrile gloves here. These aren't great for heat protection, but they will keep scalding rosin off of your hands, and that's what we're after today. I have my apron protecting my nethers, so we should be good to go. Now, she just came out of the oven, so she's warm. Again, the nitriles allowed me to hold it comfortably. We're going to take our stopper out, and we're going to pour all of our sand out. Now, you don't have to worry about any particular sand like being a problem later when you're drinking with this. The rosin, if there's anything left in there, the rosin will seal it up. So check that out. Man, she is looking pretty darn good. So now what's going to happen is we are going to pour our rosin in there. I'm going to grab it, spill cup there, and I have an old funnel from the shop. And what we're going to do is I'm going to pour enough in there. It's a little warm. We're going to go back for the bitch mitten. Okay. Try not to make a mess. Okay, I'll set that right there. And now I'm going to put the stopper back in here, and we are going to swirl this around. Now, if you saw it, that was pretty freaking cool. What happened is that hot rosin in there actually heated the air up and it created pressure. It blew everything out. So we're going to do this. I'm going to make sure that neck right there is well sealed. Make sure you can get this all around the inside. Now, if you'll take a look, camera lady, if you'll check down in there, you can see that that has gotten all the way clearly in place there. And we're going to continue to swish this around. And now I'm going to pour our excess back out, making sure that I'm getting all that neck there. Okay. Well, I wish you guys could be here and get a whiff of this. This stuff smells fantastic. It's really awesome stuff. All right, so this thing is super hot from the inside. It is still holding its shape very well. You can soak this whole thing through and dip it in there, but I think what I'm going to do here, and this is where if you've got a throwaway paintbrush or something, you can come in, because I'm actually going to seal the outside with the same stuff. Do I have a throwaway brush somewhere handy, or a rag, or anything? It was almost like I needed to be prepared for today's show. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take this rag, and I am just going to sacrifice a piece of it. It's a shop rag. She'll be fine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come in and I will actually just paint the outside of this. Now again, this leather is good and hot, so it should very reasonably absorb the rosin and beeswax mixture. If it doesn't, especially on the outside, we have a trick called a hair dryer. If it does not absorb into the surface, you can come back with a heat gun or a hair dryer and actually warm up both the wax and the outside edge of the leather, and it will actually pull down very well. But we're looking pretty good there. Now, one thing I had said earlier about being tarred and feathered, you guys have all heard that expression, being tarred and feathered. And so back in the day, if they had somebody that had really screwed up in the town and they wanted to kind of serve him a bit of justice, what they would do is they'd grab him, they'd put him on a pole, and then they would tar him and then cover him in feathers. Now, when they didn't have like asphalt, but this was actually pine pitch, pine rosin, pine tar. And this stuff was heated up to, 150, 175 degrees. It was not pleasant. I mean, you would lose skin when you were done with the ordeal. And getting this stuff off, and I'm going to tell you something, we've already had some encounters here in the shop because this rosin and beeswax mix, boy, it is sticky. As soon as it cools, unless you have some acetone handy, it sticks to everything. Man. Okay. So guys, you can also see where there's been actually a little bit more penetration than in other places. So So she's going to be good for here right now. And what we're going to do is we're going to let this cool. And we can we'll actually throw some water down here and make sure that our seal is good. Once this does cool and we'll check it, we're probably going to go back in and I'm going to do a second sealing in there just to make sure she's good and watertight. And then, as soon as I find out what in God's name I do with my stopper, the other thing that we're going to do with our stopper is I'm actually going to dunk this in the mix so that it absorbs it and seals it. And while this leather is going to be that hot and still a little bit stretchy, if you guys saw earlier when we made this, we made sure that there's a slight taper here so we can actually force this bad boy in and we're going to get a good seal. But that wax is going to be an important part of that as well. So we want it all good and sealed. So we're going to poke her down in there. Check that out. Boy, she is looking pretty darn good. Now, once everything cools, again, I'll come back, heat up the outside, kind of rub her down a little bit, get any excess wax off of there, clean that up. Hit her with the old heat gun. And guys, at that point, as long as we've got a good inside seal, boy, doesn't that look awesome. I gotta tell you, these are just the neatest things to me. I get the biggest kick out of these. You know, again, I was a Boy Scout back in the day, so canteens are always super cool. I don't think I ever felt so manly where you're out in the woods and you take your canteen out and take a swig. That's just so freaking iconic, right? All the movies have that shot. But yeah, so she's looking good. So the only thing we gotta do, we'll let her cool. We'll get her a second coating, and then we've just got to get a strap on her, and she is ready to rumble. So let's cool it, and be back in a second. All right, guys. So I ended up doing actually 5 coatings on the inside of this, and now it's kind of the moment of truth. We're going to take our funnel here and take our mason jar. And I see no leakage. So fantastic. So now you can see we're kind of sticky on the outside. We got a lot of excess. So what I'll do now is I will grab our heat gun or hair dryer, and I'll heat the outside here, give it a good rub down to remove any of the excess, and then we're going to be good to go there. I am well pleased with this. I'm pretty stoked. This is the first time that I've actually used this particular mix of Brewer's pitch. Outside of just the historicity, it's hard to argue that beeswax is superior in any way to paraffin. I know for a lot of us that like to do things historically, beeswax is the thing to go to, but paraffin actually hardens, whereas beeswax remains sticky, and there's not many applications or situations where paraffin usually isn't going to be a better choice. In fact, now again, for the sake of authenticity and because we wanted to do something super special for our Patreon, thank you again, sir, for your continued support, is the fact that paraffin would not be this sticky once it was done. So, but it's, oh man, today the entire shop has smelled like turpentine and beeswax, and that's really kind of been one of those particular moments. So I'm very excited. So let me grab the hair dryer and let's do a little quick montage of some work where I shut up for a little while, and let's clean her up and get her ready for a good looking shipping. There we go. So guys, that's it. If there's one thing that you should take away from all this, it's that that crap is so sticky. But at the end, it makes a beautiful finish. It makes a great seal. Now, you may have to go back in again, do it about 4 or 5 times. I think I did 4 times and I got a good water seal, and then I did number 5 just on top of it, just to build up that interior coating. And boom, there you go, completely watertight. Everything is ready to go. And now, the only thing we've got to do to finish this beautiful piece off is just make sure that we've got some type of good strap, but that's gonna come a little bit later. For now, again, thank you so much to my Patreons. They are the ones that make these videos possible. Folks, thank you for being here, and I'll see you in just a little while.